Warning: the video you're about to watch tells the story of a real criminal case. It contains violence and disturbing themes. Viewer discretion is advised. Schizophrenia. For most people, it's a mental health struggle. But sometimes, a complete break from reality, uncontrollable obsessions, and deep paranoia can lead to deadly consequences. In this video, we're telling the terrifying story of Sacramento's vampire, Richard Chase. Growing up in a troubled family can shape the rest of a person's life. Trauma, panic, fear, survival instincts. And when you add schizophrenia on top of that, the result was Richard Chase. From a young age, Chase showed signs of severe mental illness. He faced intense pressure from his family and was rejected by those around him. Even as a child, he was isolated by peers, treated as the sick one at home, and grew up feeling unloved. Day by day, he began slipping into a different identity. He developed obsessive behaviors, extreme paranoia, and eventually an overwhelming fear related to blood. This pushed him into deep social isolation. He stopped going to school, locked himself in his room, and started building a fantasy world inside his own mind. At 20 years old, his family could no longer handle his behavior and had him hospitalized. Initial evaluations pointed to severe depression and paranoid thinking. Doctors examined his symptoms closely. Chase had constructed a terrifying internal reality. Paranoid delusions that people were trying to harm him, hallucinations involving blood and death, obsessive thoughts, severe sleep disruption, and eating disorders. Psychiatrists believed he was dangerous due to his detachment from reality and his growing fixation on blood. Hospital records showed that antipsychotic treatment and observation plans were discussed, but treatment was not consistently maintained. After a short period of monitoring, he was released. Years passed. His psychosis and blood obsession intensified. People around him noticed strange behavior, but no serious intervention happened. It was a complete failure of responsibility. By 1977, his obsession had grown so strong that he wanted to act on it. One evening in February 1977, Richard Chase targeted his first victim, an elderly woman living alone in California. He forced entry into her home and attacked her with a knife. His goal wasn't simply to kill her, it was to drink her blood. He attempted to do so while she was still alive, but failed and fled the scene. The victim survived. Chase felt a rush from what he had done, and he wanted to do it again. His paranoia was escalating, and he could no longer suppress it. On January 23, 1978, while walking down a street, something caught his attention. A nearby house had an unlocked door. In his delusional mind, unlocked doors were invitations meant specifically for him. He entered immediately. Inside, he encountered 22-year-old Teresa Wallen. She was pregnant and terrified. Chase shot her and then stabbed her, killing her inside her own home. After the murder, he drank her blood and remained in the house for some time, taking personal belongings before leaving. This was his first confirmed homicide. The brutality and behavior at the scene made it clear this was far beyond a random attack. His break from reality and blood obsession had reached a lethal level. Police began considering the possibility of a serial attacker in the area. Richard Chase was no longer just a mentally ill man. He had become a killing machine that needed to be stopped. Just 4 days later, he found another unlocked door, another invitation. He entered. He shot Daniel Meredith upon seeing him. Then he moved through the house and killed Evelyn Miroth. In the chaos, he murdered 6-year-old Jason Miroth and abducted a 22-month-old baby from the home. When police arrived, the scene was horrifying. Evidence suggested this was not random. The behavior indicated panic, disorganization, and severe psychosis. The massacre made Richard Chase a nationally wanted serial killer. Sacramento residents were terrified. Many stayed inside their homes for days. A neighbor reported seeing a strange man leaving the house. Thin, messy hair, blank expression, carrying something wrapped in what looked like a blanket. This became the first solid lead. Chase had taken items from the home. Some of those items were traced back to an address connected to Richard Chase, a man with a documented psychiatric history.
Police learned he had previously been hospitalized. He had legally purchased a firearm. Neighbors had complained about his disturbing behavior. A warrant was issued. When officers entered his apartment, they were shocked. They found blood-stained clothing, belongings from victims, a firearm, evidence taken from crime scenes, blood inside the kitchen and on the walls. And during the search, officers discovered the body of the missing 22-month-old baby inside the apartment. Chase had killed the child after abducting him and consumed his blood. He was arrested and interrogated. His answers were disturbing. He claimed people were poisoning his blood. Nazi UFOs were following him. If he didn't drink blood, his heart would stop. The prosecution did not focus on insanity. They argued that someone who collected evidence, fled scenes, used weapons intentionally, and acted with planning, understood what he was doing. Richard Chase was sentenced to death and sent to San Quentin State Prison, but he was never executed. While on death row, he hoarded his prescribed antidepressants and took them all at once, dying from an overdose. And the question still remains, was this simply the story of a monster? Or was it the result of a severely untreated mental collapse? He was diagnosed. He was hospitalized. He was prescribed medication. But he was released. He wasn't properly monitored. He became isolated. When severe mental illness is ignored, the consequences don't stay contained. 6 innocent people lost their lives. Maybe this isn't just the story of a killer. Maybe it's a story about what can happen when early intervention fails.